Luxury living. Here we are, the garden show. What does this have to do with luxury living? Well, you could answer that, I'm sure. Everything, because quality is luxury and luxury is quality. And personal spaces, gardens, they represent an expression of beauty that satisfies the mind, will, emotions. It's a sense of well-being. It's part of your outside living. It's an extension of your indoor living space, and done with purpose and thought can really be a very healing place, because it's satisfying the emotional craving for peace, safety, beauty. It's like a feast for the senses. And so I thought I would share our garden with you and how it was thoughtfully designed. And I really mean that in the literal sense. You have to take time to think and be at peace, if you will, so you can visualize and let your imagination plant and see. So planting various trees, bushes, flowers, what textures are you going to use? What colors are you going to use? And then are they right for the area that you're living? So for California, what we used in Utah, some of the plants weren't going to work, such as gardenias, orange trees, lemon trees. So many times that I tried to have a Myers lemon tree produce here, and it would do so well in the summer. Of course, it would, retire in the winter, but it had the hardest time coming back in the summer, so it never produced fruit. So that was a no-go. So we had to think of other things that would give us that same sort of feeling of a aesthetic, fresh citrus. So we planted apple trees and pear trees and I think a plum tree. Anyhow, so we've got that kind of a farmer's market-esque happening in part of the yard. And then you think of your vignettes. So you have areas of spaces that are vignettes that are going to work with the overall picture, and I call it storytelling. So what is a story that is going to be told in the garden, you know? And the next crucial thought, imagination, layout is, what is the flow? And for me, every place that I look, I want it to be aesthetically pleasing. I like for my imagination and my thoughts to be able to drift and to go, because being a creative, it's really important that I have environments that are stimulating, that inspire, and help promote ideas and visions that I have for certain projects, or projects I don't even know about, but in the right environment, they come. So every aspect of the garden has been thought about that, as well as the house. So the house itself, what's the story of the garden telling that precedes the house, walking into the house or walking around the house, and the back of the house. That's really important. A lot of people leave out the back of the house, meaning the back wall. You have a beautiful garden, but then there's this huge back wall that just is bleak and has nothing, no interest. And for me, it just sort of takes away from the overall aesthetic of what you've designed. Also, your neighbors. I love, instead of a quote, your typical fence, do a green wall, create a green wall. So it's both pleasing for you and it's pleasing for the neighbors. So all of that has come into play, and behind me you see part of, this is the front yard with the maple tree and these whimsical little trees behind us, and then some bushes and our aspen that we actually bought pretty mature, and they've grown up over 6 years, but we did make the investment of some mature trees so that we didn't have to wait so long for them to like pop, you know, and have something. And I love this little garden here, how it just, if I go back, yeah, there you go. It actually goes down the driveway, okay? So starting at that corner aspen and coming up this way, we have these really fun, whimsical trees. I wish I could remember the names of them. I don't, but these were bought at, I think, at Cook's, either Cook's or Home Depot. They had these really fun, whimsical trees, and they're like little miniatures. They're just so cute. We did have to stake them because we live on the valley floor. I don't think you can really see the mountains off in the distance, but those winds, they're like hurricane winds. Oh, look how pretty the sun is. We're having a really strange sky. It's, I think maybe there's a fire coming from California or Colorado, but the clouds are kind of brown. I don't think it's inversion, but the sun is like, it's really different kind of an orange. So, yeah, just sidetracked. I just thought the glow was a very interesting color. So anyway, so back to the trees. So high and then low, right? That's interest. I believe this is a hostas. And it wasn't tiny, but it was probably, when we bought it, a fourth of this size. And they love the sun, so they go wild. And that was a great plant to plant in the corner of this bedding here, because we knew that it was just gonna overtake that corner and just be luscious and fabulous. And here, this maple tree, now this maple tree only came up to here when we planted it. This was a gift from my mother, and it just, it's just thrived. And amazingly, it actually is handling this east-west sun that we get quite well. Lots of water, but it's handling it quite well. It didn't totally dry up and disappear, so that was good. And then in here we have this little fairyland of delicate flowers, and they just kind of married into each other, and they're just so happy and lovely. I thought about cutting this branch out to give it more light, but actually it's just very nice how it laces over the other plants. And then these beautiful cypress evergreen, they stay green all year round. So when these go to sleep in the winter, we still have green. And this is what I'm talking about, the back of your house. See? The back of your house. Also, this beautiful bush here, this also doubled every year. 6 years it's doubled. And here are the garbage cans, and the reason I'm showing these is because eventually they probably should have like a little house, you know, so you don't see them at all. But if we come back this way and I show you, turn the phone around this way, you have more of a green wall before you even see the trash cans. See there? And then if I go this way, they sort of just disappear because your eye has much more to look at, and it's not going to focus in on the trash cans. So again, try to make every part a feature. And then here's our low for these plants here, and then the bank with the aspen. And look how tall these aspen, oh my gosh, they're so tall. And we did stake them in the early years, but look at the diameter of this trunk now. They don't need the stake anymore. They get the brunt of the wind, so they really had to thicken up fast. And these aspen are quite lovely. I initially thought we were getting the type of aspen where their limbs lay out and not go up as a column so much. So I'm not quite sure what happened with that. That kind of was a mistake, but it's worked out just fine. They're happy. And this beautiful bush here, this actually has like quadrupled in its width and its height. It's becoming tree-like, which I hadn't anticipated, but it's fine because it's hugging the trunk, and the tree seems to like it. The bush is happy. They're all friends and family, and it's growing quite well with all this shade. I'm really surprised, although it does get the west wind. So we picked this. I love these little white flowers, and they're fragrant. It smells wonderful. It's I guess replacing the gardenia that I didn't get to have. So I'm happy with it. It's taken over this bank quite well. This is a beautiful shrub that has these beautiful burgundy flowers, but it didn't do well this year. We had a cold snap and our sprinklers came on, and right after that, like, it was hot, then the sprinklers came on, then we had a cold snap, and I think it just went into shock and froze or dried up, or I don't know what happened, but I'm praying over it and I'm wishing it to come back. I'm hoping it to come back. I'm resurrecting it. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, as you can see, I just wanted to show you this beautiful, how the sun's just coming down on these beautiful trees. It's just lovely. Just love it. And so if we continue around this bank here, this is fun. It looks like a cabbage. It's not. It puts out these really fun flowers here. And I don't remember the name of that one. But we're talking texture and high lows and color. So I love that lime green against this deep burgundy. Can you see those flowers there? And it just gives your eye this wonderful feast of pop and texture and color. And then we have these darling little flowers, right? Let's see. There they are, right there, with this lighter green. And then you've got your earth element, the rock, and then this deep, deep purple here with these fun little, they're not really flowers, they're like, I don't know, little whimsical whimsies. And then again, we have the same plant back there. Look at how luscious that is. And then I love, 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 love that bush back there. That cream with that green. I mean, it's just texture on steroids. I just love it. And then look at how well these are doing. They are just thriving in this sun. They love it. They just love it. And here's another one that I told you I was resurrecting. It's actually doing much better than its friend on the other side, which is surprising because it's getting both the east and the west sun. So east in the morning, west in the afternoon. And then we planted this tree here in the middle to create more privacy from the neighbors across the way. But it might be actually limbed up too high, which we didn't do. It was bought that way. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out. Hopefully it's going to work out, because this year it's really popped in its overall volume up top. So here you can see this is the bank that I'm just was explaining to you. Look at those trees, so high, beautiful. And then you're getting a sneak peek of the house. Isn't that pretty? I mean, it's amazing what you can do with your home and update it. Like, this house was built in 1976, so it's not by any means a new build, but we've leveled it up so much that, well, it just changed its whole aesthetic and overall feel. We actually won Property of the Year award the first year here, because we did so much to the landscaping, painted out the house. It was like a you remember back in the day when the toffee colors were really popular and the deep mochas, although I think they're coming back because everybody went gray and figured out, oh, that's a depressing overall color, especially if you live in places that have inversion, which is cloudy or foggy. So the house painted out white and black. It's always been my favorite, my dream color scheme. So finally got it. And so just if I turn around, yeah, there's smoke in the air. I can smell it. I smell the smoke. Isn't that pretty? And those, you're probably wondering, what are those? Those are tiger eyes. And I've never heard of a tiger eye being from California. But apparently, quite popular in Utah, and they grow exceptionally well. So here's our other bank. Ta-da! And you probably notice, oh, similar plants in both banks. Yes, similar plants, similar design. That's because we wanted to tie them, but not exactly the same. So these darling white flowers are more abundant than the low reds. Same here. Resurrecting. Be healed. Don't know what happened. And here this one just took off. Look at that. So pretty. Oh, let's get to this. You're probably seeing all the weeds. Okay, when you lay weed tarp, you have to be so particular and make sure that you are actually getting every area before you lay your rocks. The grass is growing through this and the weeds, and it makes it so difficult to pull them out. It's really not fun. It's very laborious. So in hindsight, I would do that completely different and probably spend a lot more time making sure I've captured all the areas and haven't missed anything. Look at these. Are these just so fun and gorgeous? Look at this. Ah, makes me so happy. They just have done so well year after year. They just come back. And what's wonderful is they come back quickly. You don't have to wait like half your summer is over and then they've popped from being dormant from the winter. So this is just all gorgeous and beautiful. And then again, there's our natural element, that big stone, that big rock. And then I don't know if you could tell from this video, but it's high and then goes low, and it's actually a triangle. And so this being the point here, so back, point, back, up. And because the land slopes naturally like that, I wanted to emphasize that. Why? Because it gives interest, and that's another component of your garden. You want your garden to have interest, spark, curiosity, and let again your imagination go places. Not for me, I don't like predictability. I don't like everything same, and for me that just turns into boredom. So I thrive on landscapes, art, music even that is different and quirky and goes places that are unexpected. For me, that's stimulating. So that was intentional purpose of the high, the low, the angles. And then we have over here these beautiful maples. Okay, they were limbed up as well before we bought them. But these banks, again, have interest. And if you see down the way, your eye just wants to go down. Ooh, what's over there, right? We'll get to that in a minute. There's our maple. There's our, can you see that? Yep, our baby aspen. And I just thought that gives the garage so much interest. And a baby maple gives that corner a little interest. And underneath those, I think those are elephant ears, are actually tulips. And they come up, you know, they're a one pop wonder. So they come up before these come up and take over. So it's nice you have like two vignettes in one. I was going to cut those back, but I actually think I'm going to let them stay because they fill that corner in so beautifully. Yeah. And let's go walk over to the main. We'll do the main yard here so you can see the front of the house. Look! Isn't that so fun? Sprinklers just came on. I had to actually reset them because we were getting such intense sun. You can see the lawn. It's usually emerald green, but every year we get this little patchy. So it's either a lawn bug or it just gets scorched when we have those first 80 to 90 degree days. Just the peak of summer, just the beginning of the peak of summer hits and then it kind of settles out. So I increased the water and I'm going to go see if that's actually a lawn bug so I could take care of that. But nonetheless, here's the tiger eyes. And these have been trimmed back several times. it back. And I love them because they just have these plumes. And for me, they were very Asian-esque, very bonsai tree-ish, if you will. And I learned about them because of my neighbor. He has two, and they're more petite. So I thought, oh, that would be such a cute feature in front of the house. Unbeknownst to me, because they love sun, they just got ginormous. I mean, just ginormous, both of them. One thing they actually do quite well, though, is they created that privacy screen I was looking for from the neighbors across the way. In the summer, all summer long. In the winter, though, they will go dormant, and then you're just left with, sticks. So we plume these up. Here, you could see here. This leafage goes all the way down. This foliage goes all the way down. I like it like a little poodle. I call it the poodle's tail. Their little pom-poms and their little tail and their little muffs. So that's kind of what I did with this tree. I made it very kind of bonsai-ish. And in here could use actually some more thinning because you don't get to see the beautiful mountains that are behind us from the inside because they're so thick. And then you can peek over and you could see the hydrangeas over there. Oh my gosh, they just really took off. And you see they're white. So they're white because the house is white, and I wanted to tie that in, just a little pop of matching color with all the green. And then underneath the hydrangeas are peonies, which in hindsight, I will plant those someplace else where you can see them, but they're not the main feature. The reason why, they're a one-hit wonder. They come out with their beautiful flowers and then they are done, and that is it. And then you're just left with green. And I actually wanted more color. I wanted more flowers there. I didn't want just a green wall. This is our entryway here to the front door, which is quite lovely. Oh, no, I'm not going to go there yet because the sprinklers are on. So I'll just show you the two maple towers. Those were planted to give depth to the front door because it was just a solid white wall, just a wall, a flat wall. And every entrance to a home levels way up when you create depth. It just does. It just feels more opulent. It's just more of a transition from I'm out here, now I'm in here, grand. So I wanted the columns and it turned out beautifully. And the wall sconces on the house, those were added. That gives it another level of, interest, something completely different. No neighbor I've ever seen has lights like that. And then here we go with the fun little purples, hydrangeas. And what do you do with your basement windows? Put some interest, have fun with it. I love all the textures, the colors. The windows disappear and the garden just comes alive. It just looks absolutely fabulous and fun. All the way around. All the way around. And in the summer, it's a really fun place to sit. Now, with these aspen, there are so many species of aspen. And in the other house, we had aspen that limbed down like this that I wanted. They did not put out sucker aspens. These put out sucker aspens on steroids. So that's what you're seeing here. Whoop, the water. That's what you're seeing there. And we always have to cut them out, and they grow in your lawn. So you're always having to cut these out, and you have to catch them little, or you'll end up with big holes in your lawn because the root system, they're anchored. And for lack of a better example, aspens are family. They're all about family and connection. So when they do their root system, they interlock with each other, and they're there for life. So it's been easier to mow them and just cut them down to the lawn level than it has been to dig them all out. I suppose that would have had to be done in the very beginning just to interrupt that whole circuit, but that wasn't done. And so now we're dealing with the family network. So anyhow, it is what it is. It's just a part of maintenance, and so that's what we do. We mow once a week, and Haven and I have become quite good at mowing the lawn. I didn't think I could do it, but I can do it. I'm empowered, and Haven is a real go-getter. She's great at it. So anyway, we fertilize, we mow, we weed. There's nothing to plant because it's already in, and maybe I could sneak past the sprinkler. I want to show you my front door. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera. Can you see it? So pretty. So anyway, that's the front yard. I was going to do the backyard as well, but I'm going to do a two-part because they're both so unique and different from each other. I mean, look at everywhere you look, it's just beautiful. And I wanted to inspire you, no matter where you live, even if you're in a condo with a deck, you can make a beautiful, just sanctuary, healing space for yourself, your family, your dog. Quite simply, just think color, texture, environment, and tell a story. What's the story that you're telling in your garden? What do you want people to experience? Before I close, on the experiential part and the healing part of garden comes from my family. My great-grandmother, my grandmother, they were just exquisite with giving the experience of quality, luxury, I call it. The garden was an extension of hosting family gatherings, parties, cookouts, tea parties, and bringing the flowers. Like I have so many roses, bringing the flowers from the inside out, from the outside in, and it was just lavish. It was lovely. It was like gardens are a part of your living space and how you entertain. I suppose that's the very English side of my family, darling, on my mother's side. I also have a German, but I don't know that Germans are that into gardens. Perhaps they are, but I know that the English are, and that carried through to my mother's side of the family. And so I almost forgot to walk you back here. I'm not going to take you all the way because that's the other show. But you could see on this wall, remember I talked about the neighbors? Okay, so I have to take care of those. But we have a wall of roses. And then our neighbor had already started the cypress wall. So it's lovely to look at. And when people come, they're so intrigued. What's down this corridor? It's so inviting. We'll explore that more on the next show. We'll do the backyard garden and I'll take you there. So not only is your garden for you, but it's for the people that you love, your family, your friends. It inspires the neighbors. In fact, every neighbor has leveled up their yard since we came into town. So I love inspiring people for kingdom, for good, for beauty. And since we're called as believers to bring heaven on earth, I haven't heard anybody say heaven's ugly. So that must mean we're to bring heaven on earth here in our garden, in our yard. It's an outdoor extension of our living space. So be inspired. Go buy a plant today. Plant it and start your story. Have fun with it. Love you. Mwah. And share the video with other people that could use some inspiration and just some laughter and joy. And become a subscriber so that you don't miss whatever we're going to talk about on Chanda Luxury Living. I love you. Have a blessed day. See you next time.